Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and as always, thank you for clicking on today's video. So it's a little bit of a special one for me. It's going to be a series of short videos, and this being the first one. Basically, I'm going to build eventually my ultimate, what is the ultimate TRF buggy, which is the TRF201 XM. And it involves a couple of different conversions, this being the main one, the XR conversion, and then when we've done that we convert it using the XM conversion. Anyway, so this is my 201, and Keith, as you've probably seen in the first video, Keith over at RC Icons sent me a second 201 for basically to strip down to be able to do this conversion. But the car he sent me had the very rare part on it, which is called the Exotec plus 8mm chassis extension. So the idea of this video is to get those parts off of Keith's car and get them onto mine and then totally finish mine. Right, let's get into this one. Okay, so here's my 201, and I think you'll agree, it's a little bit special. I absolutely love this thing. So, basic 201, it's in really good condition. I was quite lucky to find this one when I bought it. It's got a Tamiya body shell on. I think it's a rock hopper wing from Penguin. I think I'm right in saying that. And then this absolutely superb TRF paint job from Craig. Yeah, it's a little bit special. Yeah, I just love looking at this thing. And the 201 from Keith. So, well used this, it's obviously been raced, which is absolutely awesome. So, apart from the Exotec plus 8 bits I want to take off it, there's a couple, the battery release bolts I want to nick off it because they're blue. And I'm hopefully going to change the front axles off this because they're a slightly bigger size and put them on mine so I can fit these wheels and tyres. Because I would like the, what do you call them, the dual blocks on my 201 to go on the new 201 XM, if that makes sense. But yeah, absolutely quality. So got them to this stage. Now what I'm hoping to do, obviously the couple of pieces from the plus 8 will go on mine, which is this beautiful blue bracket, the under support, and then these extra spaces on the shocks that take it back 8mm. I want to swap the carbon battery strap out for mine. Mine's carbon as well, but I like the look of this one better, and obviously the blue bolts as opposed to the silver, and that'll pretty much do me. And then I want to swap the front axles over so I can put this wheel and tyre set on mine. That's the plan for now. Right, after a load of messing around, I've got both cars' front axles out. Now they look the same, but they are different. So these are the ones that came out of Keith's 201, which take, well, okay, let me start with mine. So standard 201, standard hexes, take the standard 201 wheel or bearing. Keith's one, these axles take this bearing. You probably can't tell any difference there, but either or does not fit. Now, the point of this project is I want the dual blocks, not the wheels but the tyres, on my 201 XM. And I kind of think that when I've done the changeover, I think I want these fronts on. They're kind of AstroTurf fronts, and I'll get some silicone spray on front and backs to make them nice and shiny. Try clean the wheels up a little bit. So anyway, that's why I'm changing these over. So I've replaced, these were, on Keith's car, these were short, these screws. As you can see, I've had to get my trusty toolkit out and get some kind of, you going to focus? I don't even know how it's focusing, but anyway, yeah, some kind of trick screw drivers, I wish I could speak, to get the bolts out, which I've done. And now I've replaced them with new ones. So anyway, yeah, that's that done. So now I'm going to set about the 201 with the Exotec part on, because I'm not too sure how this comes apart yet. Okay, after lots of messing around, I've got the Exotec bits off. Screws are in a terrible condition on this car, so I am trying to replace them as I go, in case I need them for the next stage of this project. But that's the main Exotec Plus 8, beautiful piece. And then the bottom side of that, again, alloy is the underguard. Now the only other piece, possibly some screws, is the extra spacers in the shock to put the shocks back slightly. Anyway, next step now is to try get this onto that chassis. Right, so this is the Exotec part and this is the kit part. So I guess, let me just line these up. So from these two pieces you can see that the Exotec part is plus 8 that way, as you would expect, and the under tray matches. Now interestingly, I'd say these pieces are both alloy, standard kit is plastic, but the, oh, let me just turn that so you can see it. So it has these mouldings in, whereas the Exotec part doesn't. So it kind of, let me get this right, that kind of clips on like that on the kit, whereas it's got nothing to do with that on the Exotec one. I just bring that to you for no reason whatsoever, apart from I found it interesting. Anyway, let's now put the Exotec bit by bit onto the new chassis. Right, a little bit more progress. So we've got the plus 8 bolted down on top and also the plus 8 bolted down underneath. Worrying gaps, but again, not worrying, just, well, I don't even know if the standard one had that, but anyway, also changed the carbon battery strap over and those blue quick release bolts, which are awesome. So yeah, that's looking mighty fine. So let's see if we can get that gearbox back on now. Okay, I had a little bit of a nightmare there. Could not get this gearbox on. So after a lot of messing around, I found this is the original one that was on my 201. Now let me see if I can get this. Just so if you see those two pips in the middle, those plastic moulds, well, on the Keith's one, that on the same part, there's been cut off to allow the rear underneath Exotec plate to fit. And I must admit, I struggled with that for way too long. So I've swapped them over, and now I've got the gearbox mounted. So now I can crack on again. Right, finally, we're making progress again. So yeah, now the top plate is on, and arms are secure, and top arms are on. Phew, right, let's fit the rear motor mount and the rest of it. Not motor mount, motor guard. Right, so next bit that I want to show you, so this is a standard, so obviously the rear shock tower's on, bolted down. Just remembered I've missed a bolt from one of those places. It's anyway, I'll connect that. But what I was going to show you was I was saying the Exotec Plus 8 was just a blue plate and a bumper, but it's actually the spacer as well for the tower and these pair of longer bolts. Just make sure, sorry, not got that in the right hole. Bear with me. So longer spacer bracket, and then obviously this just fits on, and then that keeps it straight. So obviously we're just taking it back 8mm to match the main chassis extender. Right, finally, so the car's built back up. I've not put the front axles in yet. I was just happy to get the back end back put together. So shocks are on with the correct spacing now, super smooth. Rear motor plates on, that's about it, isn't it? And I've obviously put the carbon battery strap and the lovely blingy blue fast release screws back in. So yeah, let's figure out which axles I want to put on this car and get them on. Right, so that's the front axles on for the I was going to say non-Tamiya wheels. I mean, these are Schumacher, but yeah, I think it takes a smaller or larger bearing. I should really know this. It's smaller actually than the Tamiya kit one, but I'm pretty sure it's Tamiya nevertheless. Anyway, they're on. I then realised that I'd not fitted the brace that goes between the rear shock tower and the gearbox, which looks like that, because this was on the rear shock tower already. Excuse me, but obviously with the extra 8mm, this is no longer applicable. it doesn't fit. So I've taken that off completely, and when I did that I realised I'd missed 2 bolts down here to secure the gearbox on. Anyway, now I'm pretty happy with that. That is now finished. It's probably the least blingiest TRF car of all time, the 201. But with the Exotec plate and those little brackets, it looks a little bit more blingy. Anyway, now let's have a look at the wheels and tyres. Right, next problem. So I've done a couple of coats of silicone spray. It doesn't make them look brand new, but it certainly takes the age kind of off of them and makes them look newer. I'll do another coat later. The stuff I use isn't the best. When I used to use it in the UK from Halfords, it was awesome. It was like one coat of it and they were just shiny. But this stuff over here is not great, so I will source some more eventually. Anyway, next problem, and it's a big one. So obviously, shock tower hasn't moved, which means the rear wing mounts bolted to this, but the whole back end's gone back 8mm, which means the wing no longer fits. Now, if I cut like the proper 201, and that's very rough, but if you can see it's been cut out for the shocks, the 201's wing is supposed to be like that, but I never wanted to do it. Now, if I did cut a chunk out, then yes, I could. But I'm thinking just move the holes more forward, because I'm looking at it and I'll have to measure this, but yeah, the hole's going to be between the hole and the end. It's going to be in the middle, so it's not ideal, and I understand that, but I kind of need the wing to go back, otherwise the back end of the car's gone back but the wing hasn't, if that makes sense. So yeah, I kind of want to bring that forward and have it like that. Anyway, I'm going to have a play. Right, I've decided to put extra holes in, so 2 new holes, and I've just put this little Tamiya over to cover the 2 other holes. Not ideal, I know, but kind of does the job. And that's going to sit like that, obviously, more angle. Anyway, yeah, let's mount that, see what it looks like. Right, that's pretty much very happy with that. Little Tamiya decal covers those holes, looks great. Got some extra angle on the wing now. Yeah, that looks great. That's basically the chassis finished. Let's just stick the shell on. And that is my TRF201 finished. The one for the bog standard one. Not quite bog standard, I know, but you know what I'm saying. Yep, that's that finished. And that, my friends, is absolutely stunning. I love this car. And I'll tell you what's really surprising. Yeah, this is going to sound weird, but that wheelbase looks way longer. When the Exotec Plus 8 was on Keith's car, and I put him side by side, it's hardly noticeable. But I think with this shell, because it's so low to the ground, and the paintwork, and now these wheels and tyres, it really does give it a sense of a much longer wheelbase. Really like that. Let's get the little tripod out. Yeah, that looks badass. I think sometimes it needs to be seen from a lower angle, hence the lower tripod, just to get the gist of it. Now that is absolutely stunning. If anyone in the comments doesn't like this, you got to tell me why, because that is ridiculously such a good looking body shell in my opinion. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, this is a different looking car now. I think the wing slightly further back, and obviously the extra wheelbase, and obviously the wheels and tyres. Yeah, that just absolutely does it for me. Wowzer. So I'm absolutely over the moon with this one. Just an incredible looking car, and now it's just that extra little bit special with the Exotec part in there. Yeah, I think there's something important I should say. Obviously, I don't race these. I just collect them. And I have read on the forums that the Exotec Plus 8 chassis extension, weight-wise, wasn't great for this car. And that came from some actual racers at the time. I think I read someone said they had to... What did they have to do? They had to put some extra weight on the front end to compensate for that weight. So, yeah, I don't know. So it's not a case of you find this bike, stick it on your 201 and it just goes next level. I don't think it is that. But for me as a collector, super special. I'm making this outro 24 hours after I finished this car, and I've just been looking at it, and it is honestly one of the best cars in my collection now. And although that 8mm extension, it really makes a minimal difference, but I don't know, because this body and car is so sleek and low to the ground, now you've got this extra space here, it just looks very long. Yeah, I'm absolutely in love with it. It's just gorgeous, and obviously the wing a bit further back. I mean, that would be crap if you were going to run it in a race condition. That'd just rip off. But I preferred that option as opposed to cutting out, you know, semicircular holes to move forward. And I don't think it would have looked as good either. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's this car finished. This goes back in the collection just to look pretty. And next time I come on doing this project, then we'll be taking the rest of the 201 that's in bits now, and we'll either be building, it's one of two things. My initial thoughts were, we'll build this conversion all the way through and finish that car, so then it would become a TRF201 XR. So it's the same, the total standard 201 back end is just bolted onto this. But I don't know if there's any mileage in doing that, because I'm not using it. So I might, in that video, we'll rip this open, but at the same time we'll get the XM conversion kit and we'll just do it in one go. I don't know. I'll have to have a sit down and think about that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you, Keith, for making this dream possible. It's massively appreciated, my friend. And I'll end this video here. So, as always, my friends, you know what I'm going to say. Happy arseing.